Hi, this week's Weekly Roundup is super quiet, but there's a couple of STEM campaigns, interesting tools, and a new SBC from one of the fruit shops. Over at Kickstarter, there's a third hand that can fit into a pan of ice base. This one is different in that it has these metal bits sticking out that you can use to hold SMD components or probes, and you can mount several clamps at right angles. Qualmeter is back with an extension that will upgrade your Qualmeter. It gives you the ability to upgrade the firmware and also allows you to test RJ45 or RJ11 cables, which are used for Ethernet and phones. If you're into retro computers, then this campaign allows you to upgrade a Commodore 64 chassis with a Raspberry Pi, joystick and keyboard PCB. It is a decent non-destructive way of mounting everything into an old chassis. Surprisingly, Indiegogo has something interesting for makers. The Vinci is another motion sensing board that has a Cortex M0, 6DoF accelerometer, SD and LiPo battery management. There's also a stacking header that allows you to add on modules, but they only have the one, which is a GPS module. However, it is a little expensive at €99. Over at Crowd Supply, Aerosynth has gone live, which is an STR with an onboard ESP8266 and Atmel AT-SAM2X8 MCU. There's two models, the Aerosynth, which operates between 10 MHz and 6 GHz, and the Plus, which operates from 350 kHz to 15 GHz. You can access via USB or Wi-Fi, and it also has a 10 MHz reference signal input option. If you really want to get into some hacking, then you can now download the OpenSOC based RISC-V for a variety of FPGAs. They offer the 32-bit E31 and 64-bit E51 coreplexes, which can be downloaded onto most FPGAs such as the Digilent Arty board. However, to get it, you'll need to sign a very lengthy developer program agreement, which according to Linux Gizmos has the words confidential and confidentiality mentioned 31 times. Hot on the heels of Google's Assistant announcement, they have launched AIY projects with the goal to make human-to-machine interactions more like human-to-human. Is this really a good idea? I mean, let's just welcome our robotic overlords right now, eh? They're starting to release a bunch of reference kits that can be used to replace buttons, dials and displays, or replace smartphone apps controlling devices. The first reference design is the Google Voice Kit, which gives you everything you need, minus the Pi, to connect to Google Voice. If you want to get one free, then pick up the latest Magpie magazine. Yeah, I know how that's going to go down. It's just going to be a repeat of the Pi Zero incident. And the Banana Pi guys have released yet another board to confuse the heck out of us all. This one is called the Banana Pi M2 Plus with H2 Plus instead of H3. I know it's a long name, but we're talking about marketing here, and you can't argue with that. The only difference is that this one has, well, it has an H2 Plus instead of an H3 sock. If you're really desperate to have the best of both worlds, then the Volks PC guys have released the Volks PC OS, which runs both Debian and Android Marshmallow at the same time on your Odroid C2. It'll cost you $15 US, but a pretty good thing if you get sick of dual booting. Tindie is also light on, but there's a few cool things, like this interactive ruler with onboard buttons, simulated logic gates, flip-flops, counters and LEDs, all running off a standard CR2032 battery. Pretty cool if you want to experiment with some basic logic gates. There's also an 8-channel I2C multiplexer, which is useful in the situations where you have devices with clashing I2C addresses. This small board is actually really cool. It allows you to insert two SD cards and write encrypted data to both. It means that you need both SD cards to read the data. This is useful in the situation where you want to have a very simple, reliable way of protecting sensitive data. No passwords are required, but simply relies on both SD cards being physically present. This PCB allows you to solder up an RN2483 LoRa module, Arduino Pro Mini and GPS module, all powered from a LiPo. Useful if you want to collect LoRaWAN location performance data. This is yet another Cortex M3 based board, but this one breaks out 40 of the 72 GPIOs available from the CY8C256 MCU. Can be configured to support either 3.3 or 5 volt logic and runs off a 9 volt DC input. And this small board provides 2 LED backlit tactile buttons accessible via I2C. Over at IT, they have a 7-inch TFT Nextion HMI in stock, which is a smart display designed to take out all the hard work of building an interactive touch display. Contains an SD card, RTC, 32 meg flash, and a 7-inch 800 by 480 TFT touch display. This Pi Hat has some decent audio kick to it. Contains a Cirrus Logic audio chip providing 192 kHz, 24-bit DAC accessible over I2S, or it can be used standalone. DF Robot have a 350 RPM 12V DC motor with onboard gearbox and quad encoder. The 43:1 metal gear ratio will give you an effective 1° resolution. And it's nice to see some more SAM-D21 based products hitting the shelves. Adafruit have an Arduino compatible board using the SAM-D21G18, giving you an expanded 25 GPIOs, 2MB SPI flash, and running off a 7 to 9V DC supply. It comes pre-installed with a UF2 bootloader, so it presents itself as a plain USB storage device. Just copy a file over to program. SparkFun are making a big spectacle with this next one. They are a series of boards based on the SAM-D21 MCU and allow easy connectivity using a TRRS cable to various modules. The director board controls all the action and connects to modules such as inertia, motion, audio, button, and light boards. Another good option if you want to get into SAM-D21. Pololo have a small metallic geared servo that has the same footprint as a regular servo. Runs off a 6V supply and can move 3.5 kg per centimetre. Over in China, there's nothing of interest. Okay. Don't forget, links are on my website, and there's an indexy thing down in the description below. So I thought I'd show you exactly what my son has been up to the last couple of weeks. So John's actually decided he wants to become a metallurgist, and he's currently melting. What are you melting, John?
Melting brass.
Okay, melting brass. Excellent. So what temperature have you gotten this thing up to now?
It's probably at like 980 or so.
Excellent. So is that
Celsius, of course.
Is that the temperature that it should be melting at?
It's a little bit high.
Okay.
As you can see from all of the fumes.
Come out fairly nicely, so that was
that one was.
Nice. So what are you going to do with them next? Make your own currency, I reckon. That's the thing that you should be doing.
Stamp my face on it. With some tongs up in the air.
Excellent.
Thanks for watching, and see you next week. Man, I hope there's more stuff next week. Oh.